Well, on behalf of Dr. Andre and Pastor Jenny Raybert, welcome to another exciting episode of Behind the Faith. We are extremely excited to have you joining us right here on the Faith Family of Networks.
It pretty much goes without saying that this has been one of the most incredible weeks, incredible couple of weeks. And I know that every single thing that has been going on the network has been a blessing to you. So go ahead and continue to share with us what the Lord is doing in your life. Simply hit us up on all our social media platforms. This is the handle at MyFaithTV. So whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, DM us, or you can just go in the comments. But more than anything, you want to make sure that on a daily basis, you share the Faith Dailies with each and every single one of your family and your friends. You want people to be blessed with the word. So go ahead and do that. It is the word of the Lord fresh for you on a daily basis.
That's right, Tando. And so exciting now with everything that's taking place.
Yeah.
With Dr. Andre just really hearing from the Lord last week. And he's just called this August month as a time for the church to get back together, for us to gather.
Yeah.
It is an avalanche this August, and it is going to be incredible. So as you are expecting, so much stuff is happening this coming week. And of course, we're going to be talking a bit about it for this whole entire month. But right now, I want to quickly go across to Pastor Carl. It's been quite interesting here in South Africa. We've had so much stuff that's happened, it's been taking place, with the riots that happened in Gauteng and in Durban, the looting and everything.
Right.
And it's been so incredible to see the response from so many ministries and organizations around the country.
Correct.
So Pastor Carl shares a bit about what Faith Cares has been doing for this past while, still with the food parcels and supporting people, but on our trip going out as well as a ministry through Faith Cares to reach more and more people with the gospel and with actual natural resources. So let's hear from Pastor Carl about what's happening through Faith Cares.
Hi, I'm Carl Davis from Faith Cares, and I welcome you here to one of our storerooms, which is situated directly underneath the Great Faith Dome here in Buffalo City, South Africa. Those of you that have watched the news over the last few weeks would have known that South Africa was going through a very tough, some would call it a horrendous time. Not only were the effects of COVID more felt than ever before, with South Africa going into what we call a third wave, and with that, of course, seeing a lot of people also losing their employment, companies not being able to open, and a lot of other challenges also arising. We have also found that more and more people are lining up for food and other essential items. This all because of the current economic state here in South Africa. Then something else horrendous happened here in South Africa. Looting started. We as Faith Cares decided to do something to assist the people that were affected by the looting and also the non-availability of essential stock, essential things that they would need to live a daily life. We as Faith Cares had to start thinking outside of the box. Normally we would have sourced all of the items that we needed, all the essential stuff, all the essential foodstuffs. We had to source here in our local surrounding areas. Then we had to repack it. Then we had to transport it from us to where the need really is. Unfortunately, because of the transportation situation in South Africa, because of the trucks being looted and set alight, we had to do something different. This we did by sourcing the essential food items at different places all around South Africa, and we had it transported not from us, but from areas closer to the affected areas. What we are doing as Faith Cares is that we have formed partnerships with people that we trust, people that we know, people and organizations that we as Faith Cares have had a wonderful relationship with. These centers are now teaming up with us, establishing what we call distribution centers. From there, the food is then sent out to where it is really needed. We want to thank you, our faithful partners, for making this possible. With you, our faithful partners, partnering with us, putting us into a position that we can go out and make a difference in the lives of so many people. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We know that your support of Faith Cares, whether financially or most importantly too, with prayer, has made it possible for us to go out and to make a difference in so many people's lives. Faith Cares has also partnered with various role players in our area. What we have found is that so many people are joining the lines looking for food because of the current situation here in South Africa. We need to understand that unemployment is of record highs. We have never seen this before in South Africa. And most of this can, of course, be contributed to the influence of COVID and the closure of companies and shops. We have seen so many people who were business owners themselves losing the businesses that they built up over so many years and today standing in queues waiting for handouts. It's heartbreaking to see that. This is what we are dealing with every single day. What we have done as Faith Cares is we have gone out. We have formed partnership with likewise organizations, people that we can also trust in our surrounding areas. We can go out, we can join up forces with them, go out and make a difference in the lives of so many people. As the queues go longer, we see God's provision more and more flowing through us. Again, I want to thank you, our faithful partners, for making this possible. Behind me, you can see so many parcels waiting just to go out. The need is there, and we are in a position as Faith Cares to make a difference in the lives of so many people because of you. We want to thank you, we want to honor you, and we want to ask you to consider also supporting us. You will see the information also supplied on the screen. But also remember, pray for us. Pray for the things that we are doing. Remember, the prayer of many avail much.
You know, every time I see the work that Faith Cares and Pastor Carl and his team are doing right there at Faith Cares, it blesses us every single time because you, our faithful partners, are involved with the very work that is happening from Buffalo City at the Great Faith Dome. Every single one of your prayerful and financial support has been a blessing, and you've been blessing many people that have been affected by the looting and various other things that have been happening in our nation. Instead of all of that, we choose to fix our eyes on Christ instead of the crisis. So Faith Cares, really, we love you, and we've been so blessed to see what you've been doing.
Yes, thank you so much for your partnership. Not only is it helping us help other people, be a blessing to them, but also it's helping us send the message of the gospel all around the world. And with that, we have Grassroots with Angus Buchan every weekday, Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Central African time. We also have Livingstone, the Livingstone with Edgar Holder, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And then don't forget, Planet Shakers Church, Sundays at 8 p.m. Central African time, starting on the 8th of August. You do not want to miss these programs.
Wow, you know, again, I like to say every time, but there's one thing I'm realizing is that every time we speak about faith, it's amazing how, as faith comes by hearing by the word. But when I speak about faith, the word that's always synonymous with the two is the word great. So from the Great Faith Dome, all this content's coming to you live, into your homes, wherever you are around the world. It is a blessing for us to be sharing the good news of the gospel with you. And even as you partner with us, you spread the gospel. You become an e-evangelist, an electronic evangelist. Now, talking about and e-products, Faith Now, if you've not yet downloaded the Faith Now app, it's available in the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. You want to get the content because I tell you, there's on-demand Christian faithful content for the whole family, and it's available 24/7, 365 on your handheld device at any time. So Bande had some amazing interviews with Michael Swain from 4SA as well as Azinhle Smanga right here at the Great Faith Dome, one of our worship leader in fact, and we know that you're going to be blessed by these, so check this out.
Well, once again, I am joined by Michael Swain from Freedom of Religion South Africa, 4SA for short. Michael, welcome to Behind the Faith once again this month.
Thank you. Great to be with you as always.
Well, Michael, let's jump straight into it. So much has happened over the past month to the incidences in KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, the church lockdown, or religious organization lockdown, it's the insurgents. Let me use the word the president used, the insurgents that took place. the importance of the role of the local religious community, the humanitarian aid that's taken place on a large scale. So much has happened, but let's talk about the church. You know, because I think fundamentally, I love what one pastor said. He says, this is all a sign of moral decay, because people have lost their moral compass because you've restricted them from the one thing that helps them focus on that moral compass. Now for us as Christians, it's the local church, the local body. But let's talk about the local body, because there was a lot of confusion over the past couple of weeks, whether they could gather for specific things or not gather. And even some churches had 200 police officers or officers of the law descend on them just because they were following an instruction that they perceived from the president, or actually was a statement from the president. But there was a lot of confusion around the Gazette. Let's talk about that a bit.
Yes, as you say, it's been an absolute roller coaster, and unfortunately confusion has prevailed, and in fact perhaps even continues to prevail. So the first most confusing thing perhaps was when the president, in the wake of the terrible rioting and looting, had a meeting with senior religious leaders and basically asked them if they would engage with their communities. And to that extent, a regulation was passed the next day, which was seemingly in keeping with what he had requested, and then was immediately followed up by another regulation, which then restricted the meetings to only 50 people, and specifically for emergency meetings for COVID-related purposes. And of course, the problem with that was that it did not repeal the fact that it was still a criminal offense to have any religious gathering at all. And so hence the confusion that set in. As you mentioned, the one incident, there was another incident that we saw where a prayer meeting, a small prayer meeting, was literally violently broken up by the SAPS, who were obviously notably absent during the looting and the rioting. So this has been very concerning. And of course, the president did then speak last night, and he has now amended the regulations, or the regulations subsequent to his speech have been amended again. And now we're back to the 50 indoor, 100 outdoor maximum, or up to 50% of a venue's capacity. So religious gatherings are, to that extent, at the very least, again, legal.
So, you know, talking about this restriction in terms of the number of people that we have, you know, as I'd mentioned, I'd been listening to an interview on a prominent local South African talk radio station, you know, where organizations, even in the entertainment industry, are talking about this 50% capacity with the ability to still follow all protocols. So sanitizing, social distancing, capturing of the information for contact tracing. You know, is this something that we need to see? Because it looks like all of a sudden the entertainment industry and the religious community are starting to speak the same language.
Well, I think they always have been speaking the same language, but particularly from the point of view of the faith community, and that's something which we have been saying from the beginning. We know and we understand that in the face of an emergency, in the face of a national state of disaster, then yes, government can bring in regulations and can restrict what would otherwise be our constitutional freedom rights, one of which, at the very least of which, is Section 15, which allows us to have freedom of religion, conscience, and belief, and to not only have it, but to express it. And that means meeting together as well. So yes, they can do it. But again, they must follow some things which are proportional, reasonable, and in this instance, we believe essentially science-based. In other words, follow the data, use science. It makes no sense, in all honesty, to have a venue that is restricted to 50 people maximum, that has the capacity to seat, say, 5,000 people. Exactly. Where is the science in that? Where is given that this is supposed to be preventing the spread of infection, and that, as you said, you have all these protocols in place, social distancing, sanitation, and so on and so forth. Where is the science which says that it is equally dangerous for a venue of 5,000 people capacity to have the same capacity or the same number of people as would, say, meet in a venue with 100 people maximum capacity? It just doesn't make sense, and it is not logical. And I think that is the growing frustration amongst both churches of a larger capacity and, as you've correctly said, the entertainment industry, all of whom are suffering as a consequence. And at the very time, as you said, when the faith-based community should be stepping up and playing the vital role that only it can play in the midst of these crises, it seems to be being increasingly and harshly locked down.
Because it looks like the response is not exactly proportionate, because you'll see any sorts of marches or gatherings, political gatherings, or protests or demonstrations aren't met with the exact same aggression as what, as you mentioned, a small gathering for prayer to come together. I think now, as the religious community or the faith-based community, we've always stuck by this, and I know many great church leaders have said this, that we are not in opposition of the government. We are simply standing for what, one, is our right, and two, is our responsibility to support so many communities. And I think that's the one thing I want to honor and acknowledge with you guys from Freedom of Religion South Africa, standing up for faith-based communities. But I want to quickly turn the page to another, I want to call it conversation we had previously. And that was the Papuda Amendment Bill. Now, obviously, we all spoke about the petitions and we signed and we did all sorts of things. But now it's been a couple of weeks since then. What's the update and what's happening with the Papuda Amendment Bill?
Well, really, thanks to the tremendous level of public participation, and thank you to you and thank you to all your viewers who actually went ahead and signed and sent in submissions to the Department of Justice. Over 150,000 submissions that we know of were received on this Papuda Amendment Bill. And the net consequence of that was that the following week we were invited to a meeting with the Deputy Minister of Justice, John Jeffrey. And at that meeting, and we also attended that meeting with senior religious leaders representing literally over 40 million people from across the spectrum of the faith community. And we put it to Minister John Jeffrey that the problem with this bill was that it has the absolute and clear and present danger of drastically impacting on religious freedom rights. And he did acknowledge that. And he said that he would then, with his department, obviously review all the submissions and then look at making it clearer that religious freedom rights would and should indeed be protected. And that was exactly the position that 4SA took in our submission. In fact, we specifically have recommended that in the next draft of this bill, in other words, before it goes into the public process and before it goes before Parliament, that there should be a specific clause that protects and therefore prohibits discrimination against religious freedom rights, because that is omitted at the moment from Papuda in its current form. And that has caused a lot of problems along the way in the form of cases against people simply because they've expressed their sincerely held religious and faith convictions.
Sure. Well, thank you for that update, Michael. You know, it's very important for us as believers to stay informed and not be caught unaware, even as the Bible calls it. It says not be caught unaware of the enemy's devices. And I think it's important for us as the religious and faith-based communities to stand behind what you guys do as Freedom of Religion South Africa. And for all those who are watching and you'd like to contact or come into communication with them, listen, you can go to their website, 4sa.org, and the details are on the screen as well of how you can communicate to them and contact them on social media or on their website, where they've got many tools in which you can communicate with them and you can be a part of what is happening and fighting in the front line with people like Michael and Nadine and the rest of the team from Freedom of Religion South Africa. Michael, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for updating us what's happening with the Papuda Amendment Bill, as well as informing us a bit more about what's happening with the churches and the opening up of the churches and gatherings as well.
Thanks, Ben. Always great to be with you.
Thank you. God bless. Well, that was Michael Swain from Freedom of Religion South Africa.
Hi, everybody. My name is Azi, and I'm the worship leader and media editor here in the ministry. I've been in the ministry for 5 years now, and I came to visit the church in 2016. It was a year after I'd given my life to the Lord, and someone referred me to come to the church, and so I came to Rivers, London. One thing I've learned in the ministry really has been trusting and depending on God, walking by faith, and not just the Christian statement of the just shall live by faith and living by faith, but actually walking in relationship with God in faith. So it was, I think, years before I gave my life to the Lord, I always wanted to be a singer, and I always fell in love with music. I loved music, but I never really had purpose attached to it. So when I gave my life to the Lord and I came to this church, I remember the first time I walked in, I heard them singing Hands to the Heavens, and it was just, they had passion attached to it. And I heard the band for the first time, and I really just, I knew in my heart that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I remember at the time it was still roof project, so the dome was not what it is now. And when I got to hear the story behind the vision in this church and where they're going and what their aspiration is and their heart for God and the heart for people, I really, made the decision in my heart that, Lord, this is what I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of something. I want to be a part of something greater than just, singing and just doing it for a career, but actually doing it for purpose for the kingdom.
Sure, what a conversation, hearing from Azzy and then just hearing her story about how she came through, in the ministry and joining everything. It's so incredible, Tando, But that's the power of people coming in and connecting with what we're doing right here at the Faith Family of Network, partnering as part of the team, to make sure that people are reached with the gospel, with the message of faith, with the word of God.
It's actually quite interesting because, I know you get to see a bit of their stories, every single one of our team members. I know you get to see the stories, but it's always hilarious because sometimes they are a bit camera shy, and I wish you just understood how deep, like the level of profoundness that we hear concerning their personal stories, pertaining to the things of the Lord, pertaining to being involved here at Faith. And I want to encourage every single person who has partnered with us. You are part of something that is so great, that is so magnificent. It reminds me, in 1 Corinthians 3, when Paul is talking about how we all come together and we work together, because it doesn't matter who decided to do the planting, it doesn't matter who decided to do the watering. I'm going to read it quickly to you from the NLT. It says in 1 Corinthians 3 verse 8, it says, "The one who plants and the one who waters work together with the same purpose, and both will be rewarded for their hard work." Because we are both, you and I, the one who plants, the one who actually does the watering, we're both God's workers. We are both God's building. And I want to encourage you with this, that the Lord is the one who gives the increase, and the Lord is the one who rewards. So in every single thing we do, don't look at the testimonies, don't look at every encouragement, whether it is shared on Faith Today, whether it is shared online on social media, whether it is shared on the NXT Live or Faith Worship, it doesn't matter. Do not look at those and say, "Oh wow, must be nice." By you partnering with the network, you are actually a partaker in this. So I want to encourage every single person who's viewing right now, who's watching, whether you're at home, you're watching on the socials, or you're watching on the app, or you're watching on traditional TV, it doesn't matter. Today, make the step to partner with us. Simply go to our website, myfaith.tv, or you can email us, partner@myfaithtv.com, and simply ask the question, how can I get involved? With every single seed, it does not fall on dead ground. It falls on fertile soil, and it is the Lord who gives the increase. It is the Lord who rewards every single one of us for the hard work.
That's right. Every single one of us, each and every single thing that we're doing is a team effort where we're pushing forward. Now, don't forget, Monday to Wednesday, Dr. Andre and Pastor Jenny and the team from the USA will bring you Faith Today. And then every single Thursday, right here from Buffalo City, South Africa, Faith Today with Pastor Kevin and Chantel. And take us to the young kids on a Friday with the Next Generation NXT Live from 6 p.m. Central African time, right here on the Faith Family of Networks. Then Sunday morning, we're going to church, 9 a.m., and we're joining with the global body of Christ as we worship the Lord, the King of Kings, right here on the Faith Family of Networks. On behalf of Dr. Andre and Pastor Jenny Raybert, we love you, and we will see you next time.